every level of a software engineer's career. Have you ever wondered how one software engineer earns just enough to pay the bills, while another, doing what seems like the same job, makes over $700,000 a year? Same profession, same title, completely different lives. Oh, what separates them? Today, we're breaking down every level of a software engineer's career, from an intern writing their very first line of production code, to the executives building billion-dollar technology companies. Because in software engineering, every promotion changes everything. Level 1, Intern. Every software engineer starts somewhere. And for most people, it starts as an intern. You're excited, nervous, and honestly, I'm a little overwhelmed. For the first time, you're working on software that real people actually use. You're surrounded by experienced engineers. Conversations move fast. Meetings feel confusing. And almost every day, you feel like you're the least experienced person in the room. But that's exactly where you're supposed to be. No one expects an intern to build an entire product. Instead, you're learning how professional software teams actually work. You'll fix small bugs, write simple features, attend daily stand-up meetings, read documentation, review other people's code, and slowly begin understanding what software engineering is really about. Most interns spend more time learning than actually writing code, and that's perfectly normal. The biggest mistake interns make is trying to impress everyone by writing complicated code. Experienced engineers don't care how clever your code looks. They care if it's readable, reliable, and easy to maintain. One clean solution will always beat 10 complicated ones. Because software engineering isn't about showing how smart you are. It's about solving problems in the simplest way possible. Transition. If you survive your internship, one thing changes. People stop treating you like a student. Now, you're expected to perform. Welcome to your first real job. Level 2, Junior Software Engineer. Landing your first software engineering job feels incredible. Months, sometimes years, studying finally pays off. But then, reality hits. You're no longer practicing on tutorial projects. You're working on software that businesses depend on every single day. Every mistake matters. Every bug has consequences. And suddenly, the pressure feels very real. As a junior software engineer, you'll spend most of your time fixing bugs, building small features, testing applications, and learning from senior developers. This is where technical skills improve the fastest. Because every day, you're solving real-world problems. But here's something many new engineers don't realize. Writing code, it is only half the job. The other half, communication, explaining your ideas, understanding business requirements, working with designers, collaborating with product managers, reviewing pull requests, receiving feedback without taking it personally. Because in professional software development, nobody builds great products alone. This is also the stage where many engineers get stuck. Not because they aren't talented, but because they become comfortable. They stop learning after work. They avoid difficult projects. And they believe experience alone will get them promoted. It won't. Technology changes too quickly. The engineers who keep growing are the ones who never stop learning. Level 3, Software Engineer. By now, you're no longer the new person on the team. People trust you, not because of your title, but because you've proven that you can deliver. You don't need someone watching over your shoulder anymore. You understand the code base. You know how the product works. And when something breaks, people start coming to you for answers. This is the stage where software engineering stops feeling like a job and starts becoming a career. You're building features that thousands, sometimes millions, people use it every single day. A single line of code can improve a product or take an entire platform offline. The responsibility is bigger, but so are the rewards. At this level, your salary usually climbs into six figures. Many engineers earn between $120,000 and $160,000 a year. And if you're working at companies like Amazon, Microsoft, Google, or Meta, your total compensation can be much higher, thanks to bonuses and stock options. But this is also where careers split into two completely different directions. Some engineers continue improving, learning system design, cloud architecture, performance optimization, and leadership skills. Others stop rowing. They write the same code every single day for years, and then wonder, why are younger engineers getting promoted before them? Because promotions are never about time. They're about value. The engineers who move ahead don't wait for opportunities. They create them. They volunteer for difficult projects. They solve problems nobody else wants to touch. And slowly, they become impossible to replace. But reaching the next level requires something completely different. Not better coding, better thinking. Transition. Because becoming a senior software engineer has very little to do with writing more code, and everything to do with making everyone around you more productive. Level 4, Senior Software Engineer. For many developers, this is the dream. The title sounds impressive. The salary is impressive. And finally, people start recognizing you as an expert. A senior software engineer doesn't just build software. They build systems. They mentor junior developers, review complex architecture, make technical decisions, and solve problems that most engineers can't. When a critical system crashes, senior engineers are usually the first people everyone calls. Because experience can't be downloaded from YouTube. It has to be earned. Years of failures, late nights, production incidents, and difficult decisions create great engineers. By this point, many senior engineers earn between $180,000 and $250,000 a year, some even more, especially in Silicon Valley. But here's the surprising part. This isn't what the biggest money is. In fact, the highest paid engineers often stop thinking like engineers and start thinking like business owners. Because every technical decision has a business cost. Every performance improvement saves money. Every successful product launch creates revenue. The best senior engineers understand both worlds, technology and business. That's what prepares them for the next level. And that's where salaries begin changing faster than ever before. Level 5, Staff Software Engineer. For most software engineers, this is where the journey ends. Not because they are talented, but because very few engineers ever reach this level. A staff engineer isn't just responsible for one application. They're responsible for entire systems. Systems that process millions of requests every single day. Systems that businesses depend on every second. At this point, people stop asking, "Can you build this feature?" Instead, they ask, "What's the best way to build it?" Because you're no longer solving coding problems. You're solving business problems. You make technical decisions that can save a company millions of dollars. A faster system means happier customers. Better architecture means fewer outages. And fewer outages mean more revenue. That's why companies pay staff engineers so well. In the United States, a staff software engineer can earn anywhere between $220,000 and $350,000 a year. And at companies like Google, Meta, Netflix, or OpenAI, total compensation can be even higher. Once bonuses and stock options are included. But here's the interesting part. The biggest challenge at this level, it isn't technology. It's an influence. You don't manage people. You don't have authority over teams. Yet somehow, you still have to convince dozens of engineers to follow your technical vision, Yuli, without being anyone's boss. And that's one of the hardest skills to master. Because great engineers write excellent code. Great staff engineers multiply the performance of everyone around them. Transition. But eventually, every engineer reaches a crossroads. One path says, keep building software. The other says, start leading the people who build it. And that's where engineering changes forever. Level 6, Engineering Manager. Becoming an engineering manager feels exciting. You finally have the title. They have already the bigger salary. But something unexpected happens. You write less code and spend far more time with people. Your calendar is filled with meetings, hiring interviews, performance reviews, planning sessions, one-on-one conversations, conflict resolution, roadmap discussions. At first, many engineers hate this change because they became engineers to solve technical problems, not people's problems, but leadership. It is a completely different profession. Your success is no longer measured by the code you write. It's measured by the team you build. Can you motivate people? Can you help junior engineers grow? Can you resolve disagreements without destroying morale? Can you deliver projects on time without burning out your team? These are the questions companies care about now. Because one great manager can improve productivity of 28 engineers, and that's worth far more than writing one perfect algorithm. Engineering managers at top technology companies often earn between $280,000 and $450,000 per year, not because they're better programmers, but because they help everyone else becomes better. And that's when you realize software engineering was never just about computers. It was always about solving human problems. Transition. Most people believe this is the highest level. Isn't, because above engineering managers are the people deciding what entire engineering organizations build next. And that's where careers are. Become something much bigger than a job. Level 7, Director of Engineering. Not every great engineer becomes a director, because at this level, your job isn't to build products, it's to build organizations. You're no longer thinking about one team, or even one product. You're responsible for multiple engineering teams, hundreds of engineers, multi-million-dollar budgets, and products used by millions of customers around the world. Every decision you make can affect an entire company. A delayed product launch could cost millions. Hiring the wrong engineering manager could slow down an entire department. Choosing the wrong technology could take years to fix. That's why companies don't promote directors based on technical skills alone. They look for leaders, people who stay calm under pressure, who makes difficult decisions, who knows when to take risks and when to play it safe. At this level, the conversation changes completely. Nobody asks, can we build it? The question becomes, should we build it? Because every feature has a cost. Every project, I need a return. A director of engineering doesn't just think like an engineer anymore. They think like a business executive. Their annual compensation often ranges between $400,000 and $700,000. And in some of the world's biggest technology companies, it can be even higher. But even this isn't the top. Transition. Above every engineering organization, there's one person responsible for every technical decision the company makes. One person whose vision shapes the future of the business. Welcome to the final level. Level 8, Chief Technology Officer CTO. Very few software engineers ever make it here, not because they lack talent, but because of this role requires something far beyond engineering. A CTO isn't the best programmer in the company. In many cases, they don't write code at all. Instead, they decide where the company is going, what technologies to invest in, which products deserve attention, how engineering supports business growth, and how to stay ahead of competitors. In an industry that changes almost every month, the pressure is enormous. One wrong decision can cost hundreds of millions of dollars. One right decision can transform an entire company. At this level, leadership matters more than programming. Vision matters more than syntax. And strategy matters more than speed. Compensation varies widely. Some CTOs earn around $500,000 per year. Others, especially at successful public companies, receive stock awards worth millions. Their income isn't limited by salary anymore. It's tied to the success of the company itself. And that's the biggest shift of all. They no longer work for money. They build systems that creates value. Final message. Oh, what did we learn? Software engineering isn't a race. It isn't about memorizing more programming languages or collecting certificates. Every level demands a different version of you. As an intern, you learn. As a junior, you contribute. As a mid-level engineer, you become reliable. As a senior, you guide others. As a staff engineer, you influence entire systems. As a manager, you grow people. As a director, you grow organizations. And as a CEO, you shape the future. The engineers who reach the top aren't always the smartest. They're the ones who keep learning long after everyone else stops. Because in technology, the moment you stop learning, you stop growing. And the ladder ends there. If you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe to Career Theory. Every week, we break down another high-paying career, showing you exactly how people climb from entry level to the very top. Now, I have a question for you. If you could choose any career for our next breakdown, what would it be? Leave it in the comments below. You might see your suggestion in our next video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.